And so this really is the start of our practice. The effort has already been made, your effort to get here, with probably a lot of other things grabbing your interest and your attention. And then the effort it takes just to be as warm and as comfortable as is possible in this moment. Generally, throughout the practice, we stay still. But of course, if you need to make any little adjustments at any point, then please feel free to do so. And we might just start our practice this afternoon just by noticing how it feels to be horizontal. To start to allow the weight of the body to drop down towards the floor. And of course, at this beautiful time of year, we are often seeing the leaves beginning to fall from the tree and making their way down towards the earth. And you might like to imagine that as you exhale, you're like one of those leaves and you're just floating down towards the earth beneath you. Like the front of the body was melting towards the back of the body. With each exhalation becoming a little bit heavier. The arms and the legs becoming that little bit heavier. And there is nothing for you to do in this practice. You are receiving radical rest. You're not doing it, you're receiving it. And so just allowing yourself to be open to your experience, whatever it might be. And so as the body continues to settle, you might then become aware of the breath and the quiet loyalty of the breath as it enters and leaves the body. The rising and falling of the belly with the breath. And the whole body being given down towards the earth. And so we'll prepare to take our attention around the body, to each part of the body that I mention. Become fully aware of the feeling and sensation in that part of the body, starting with the tongue and the tip of the tongue, the inner right cheek, the inner left cheek, the roof of the mouth, the floor of the mouth, and the whole mouth, the teeth, the lips, and the jaw. And be aware of the cheeks, the soft skin across the cheeks, the nose, and the eyes. The feeling of the eyes just melting towards the back of the head, the forehead, and the space between the eyebrows, as though the skin here was softening and broadening. The crown of the head, the back of the head, and the ears. The sensation of both of the ears, as though you could gather your awareness from the outside of the ears all the way into the ears, into the head, and then back out and down to the sides of the neck, the back of the neck, and the throat. And sense that soft hollow at the base of the throat, between the collarbones. And then the tops of the shoulders, as though they were just melting down away from the ears. And that sensation continued down the arms, to the hands, and sensing the palms of the hands, as though the skin there was broadening and softening. The thumbs, the index fingers, the middle fingers, the ring fingers, the little fingers, all of the fingers and thumbs on both hands, both arms, together. And as though you were gathering your awareness from the tips of the fingers all the way up the arms to the throat, and then down to the chest, the right side of the chest, the left side of the chest, the whole chest, the rib cage, the shoulder blades, and the middle back and lower back, and the abdomen, to the belly button, and the soft skin of the abdomen. And imagine the awareness dropping down into the pelvis, into the cup of the pelvis, as though your breath were filling the pelvis with each inhale and exhale, and the hips, and as though the legs were just melting down away from the hips, like the earth themselves becoming heavier, to the ankles and the feet and the soles of the feet, as though the soles of the feet were breathing. And sense the big toes, and the second toes, third toes, fourth toes, and little toes. Both legs and both feet together. And be aware of the whole of the body. The whole of the body. the whole of the body. Become aware of the space surrounding the body, around the arms, around the legs, and the whole body. Be aware of the boundaries of the body. The touch of air or material against the skin. And feel as though the whole body is breathing. As though each inhalation filled the edges of the body. As though with each breath the body was lightly expanding, rising, and with each exhale the body was softly retracting and sinking, as though the whole body were breathing. And picture the breath a little bit like the big wheel at the fair. And it's as though on the inhalation you travel to the top of that wheel. And the exhalation you travel back down. And start to allow yourself to travel with the breath to the top of the inhale and to the bottom of the exhale. Just as though you stepped into a gentle, warm stream and the water just flowing past the ankles. So you too are flowing with the breath. And then sense how the body is being held. The whole of the body being given down towards the earth. Sinking a little deeper into the support beneath you. Safe in the knowledge that there's nothing that you're trying to do. There is no need to be better than you already are. To be here, taking rest, is surely enough. And imagine now that the whole body was so heavy, as though you were getting pulled down, the muscles and the bones becoming so heavy. And then how would it be to feel so light, like a feather just drifting through the air? Heaviness on an exhale, lightness on an inhale, heavy and light, and then perhaps both together. Imagine now how it would be to be a little bit more rested in the life. how that might look or feel or taste or smell. And cast your mind back to a time when perhaps you might have felt a little more rested. And if you can't remember a time, just imagine it. And then imagine that you're traveling back in time from this moment back to that time, real or imagined, when you felt a little more rested. As though you could see yourself looking back at yourself. And then that younger you, that previous you, passes you a gift. You take it into your hands. And then you journey back to this moment, being aware of the shape of the body and the position that you are resting in. And placing this gift onto the heart and sensing it beginning to dissolve as though it were melting and sinking down into the heart, deeper, deeper and deeper into the heart. And it's a feeling, it's a remembering, that you deserve to rest. The freedom and the gratitude and the joy from remembering that you are whole, that you are loved, that you are held, and you are enough. And just like the breath comes in and goes out, so too our thoughts can come in and out of the mind. And our emotions passing through the heart. And just like the breath, we allow our thoughts and emotions to come in and go out. To come in and go out. Neither clinging on to one or pushing away another. We open fully to our whole experience with that feeling of gratitude and wonder to simply be here, to be here in these bodies, in this life, and with the breath. And again, become aware of the whole body. Perhaps there's some feeling of discomfort, some feeling of relaxation, some feeling of warmth, some feeling of coolness. Start to come back to the feeling of the body resting here on the earth. Begin to invite your breath to be a little bit fuller and deeper. Welcoming in the breath and softly releasing the breath, as though you were filling the body with the breath. And with each breath, bringing a little bit more vitality back to the body. Sensing that you are coming to the end of this practice, that you have been in an altered state of awareness, a dreamlike state of creative consciousness, and a state of deep and radical rest. But that we are turning the corner to come back to a more familiar state of awareness, a more waking state of awareness. And so you may find that it's nice just to start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, and to notice that transition as the mind comes back to its more familiar waking states. And it can also be nice to maybe sigh or yawn, stretching the jaw, maybe circling the ankles and the wrists, and taking your time, knowing that there's no need to rush. At this moment, there is nowhere for you to be but here. There is no obligation of you, no responsibility and no roles to play. And in this moment, this chance just to rest. And there may come a moment when you want to remove the eye pillow. Just gently from the eyes, maybe shielding the eyes with the hands and allowing the light to just filter back. Quietly bringing yourself back to the external world after that deep journey into the inner world, into the depths of the soul. And I'm going to share a poem with you now. It's by Rumi. Some of you may have heard of him. He was a Sufi poet from, I think, the 12th or 13th century. But his words still feel so relevant today. And this poem's quite well known. You might have heard it before, but it's always wonderful to hear, I think. I always enjoy to read it. It's called The Guest House. This, being human, is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. And so taking this final time now to fully bring yourself back to a waking state. Taking any movement that feels good. Sometimes it's nice to hug the knees in towards the chest and have a little rock from side to side, ease out the lower back. It can be nice to turn and rest on one side for a few moments. And so as we come to the end of this practice of radical rest, I thank you all for listening.